What do you do when someone you helped raise suddenly looks at you like a stranger? Like a man who's no longer asking for guidance, but offering something far more dangerous? It was a night soaked in thunder. Rain crashed against the windows like fists demanding entry, and the house seemed to breathe with every gust of wind. I was alone, at least, I thought I was. Until I heard the soft knock at my bedroom door. It wasn't fear I felt. Not quite. It was something hotter. Stranger. A curiosity tangled in shame. On the other side of that door stood Caleb, my stepson. 22. Grown. Quiet. And that night, bold in a way that unsettled everything I thought I knew. When I opened the door, I told myself it was just a talk. But deep down, I already knew. This wasn't going to be just another storm passing through. My name is Amanda, and if you'd asked me 5 years ago where I thought my life would be at 43, I would have never imagined this. Standing at the edge of a decision that would unravel everything I once believed about love, loyalty, and identity. I met Daniel, my second husband, during a renovation project. He was the contractor. I was the recently divorced client trying to remodel my kitchen and maybe my life along with it. He had calm eyes, rough hands, and a quiet steadiness I craved after years of emotional chaos. We married within a year. He came with a son, Caleb. 17 at the time. All jawlines, headphones, and hard silence. He barely spoke to me the first year I moved in. Always retreated to his room, his voice clipped, his footsteps heavy. I understood. I wasn't his mother, and I never tried to be. I respected the invisible boundary between us. Over time, though, that line blurred. I'd find my coffee already brewed in the morning. My car scraped free of snow. A book I mentioned offhand left on my nightstand. He started helping more around the house, fixing squeaky doors, changing light bulbs I couldn't reach. Nothing direct. No big conversations. Just small, quiet offerings. Daniel, meanwhile, became increasingly absent. His construction jobs pulled him to other states for weeks at a time. He'd call every few days, sometimes sound distracted, tired. We'd speak about bills, groceries, nothing of depth. Our marriage slowly dissolved into a polite partnership, like two co-workers running a household. We slept in the same bed, but rarely touched. And while Daniel drifted further away, Caleb moved closer. Not physically, but in awareness. I'd catch his eyes on me, studying, lingering, not in a way that made me feel threatened, but seen. It was subtle at first. The way he'd listen when I talked. The way his voice softened when we were alone. The way he remembered little things I didn't even know I'd said. The house felt like it held a secret some nights. Heavy with unspoken tension. The scent of his cologne would hang in the hallway after he passed, and I'd find myself breathing it in like a woman starved. There was never a plan. No moment where I said, "This is going to happen." But in the quiet spaces Daniel left behind, something else began to grow. Something dangerous. Something undeniable. And all it needed was a storm to bring it crashing through. It started with glances. Then, the glances became pauses. And the pauses, lingering moments too long to be innocent. I remember the night I truly noticed him. It was late September, and the air had started to cool. I had just come in from the porch, wrapped in my robe, my hair damp from a quick shower. I didn't expect to find Caleb in the kitchen, shirtless, barefoot, the glow from the fridge casting his face in silver blue shadows. He closed the door slowly and looked up, caught off guard. Or maybe he wasn't. "You're still up?" I asked, tugging my robe tighter. "Couldn't sleep," he said, his voice lower now than it used to be. Richer. Confident. "You?" I shrugged. "Too quiet when your dad's not home." He nodded but didn't move. "You always say that like you miss him." His eyes didn't flinch when he said it. They held mine in a way that made my stomach flutter and twist all at once. "I do," I lied. Then added, "sometimes." He took a step closer. Just one. But it made the room feel smaller. "I think you miss being noticed more than you miss him." My throat went dry. I laughed awkwardly, brushing past him to grab a glass of water. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," he said slowly, I see you. I froze with my back to him. The weight of his words pressed against my skin like heat. I wanted to deny it, make a joke, deflect like I always did. But I couldn't. I'm going to bed, I muttered, almost dropping the glass in the sink. That night, I didn't sleep. My heart was loud. My guilt louder. And underneath it all, an ache I hadn't felt in years stirred. Was this wrong? Of course. But was it entirely one-sided? No. The next few days, I avoided him, taking long walks, staying late at work, locking my bedroom door at night. But avoidance only makes silence grow louder. One evening, I came home late. Caleb was in the living room, a movie playing on low volume. I tried to pass by, but he spoke without looking at me. You always run when it gets too close. I turned slowly. Excuse me. You act like you're afraid of me. Or afraid of yourself. I crossed my arms. I'm your stepmother, Caleb. You do understand how wrong this is, don't you? He stood, walking toward me with measured steps. We're not blood. I'm 22. And I've watched you waste away in this house, pretending you're still part of a marriage that's been over for years. Stop, I said sharply, but my voice cracked. You don't know what you're talking about. I know how you look at me when you think I'm not watching, he said. And I know how I feel when you do. He was close now. Too close. I'm not a child anymore, Amanda, he whispered. His words burned into me like fire beneath ice. I stepped back, but there was nowhere to go. I can't do this, I said, more to myself than to him. He gave a small, sad smile. Then why haven't you stopped me? That question echoed in me long after I escaped to my bedroom, locking the door behind me. Why hadn't I? The lines were no longer just blurred, they were fracturing. And with Daniel due home in 3 days, every moment between us began to feel borrowed. Ticking. Dangerous. Yet, when I'd hear Caleb's footsteps outside my room, I didn't feel dread. I felt desire. And that terrified me more than anything else. The storm hit 2 nights before Daniel was due back. Wind thrashed at the windows like it wanted inside, and the rain was relentless, a constant, unceasing drumming on the roof that made the whole house feel like it was trembling. The power flickered, then finally gave out, leaving everything bathed in silence and candlelight. I curled up in bed with a book I couldn't focus on, the glow of a single candle throwing long, flickering shadows across the walls. My chest felt tight all evening, like I was bracing for something I couldn't name. I should have locked the door. But I didn't. Then I heard the knock. Soft. Once. Then silence. I didn't say anything. A moment passed. Then, Amanda. His voice. Low. Careful. Barely louder than the wind. Still, I didn't answer. The door creaked open anyway. He stood there in the dim light, barefoot, sweatpants hanging low, a hoodie clinging to his damp skin. His hair was wet, beads of water catching the candlelight like stars. I'll go, he said. If you tell me to. But I need you to look at me and say it. I swallowed, heart thudding painfully. This is insane, I whispered. Is it? He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Or is it the only honest thing that's happened in this house in years? I sat up slowly. You don't understand the consequences of this, Caleb. Yes, I do. He walked to the foot of the bed. I understand them better than you think. I've thought about them. I've fought them. He took a breath. But I also know this, I see you. All of you. Not as someone's wife. Not as my father's second chance. But as a woman who's been invisible for far too long. My eyes burned, tears threatening to spill. I was never supposed to feel anything for you, I said. I tried so hard not to. But you do, he said gently. I nodded. And then, as if every wall between us crumbled in a breath, I said it. I'm lonely, Caleb. I have been for so long, I forgot what it was like to feel wanted. That broke something in him. He crossed the room in 2 steps, cupping my face like I might disappear if he wasn't careful. His hands trembled. So did mine. You deserve more, he said, voice cracking. And if I'm the only one who's willing to give it to you, even for one night. I will. Then he kissed me. It wasn't lust. It wasn't heat. It was hunger for closeness, for acknowledgement, for something real. We moved without words, slowly, carefully, peeling back not just clothes but the weight of every lonely year between us. The candle flickered. The storm raged. And inside that bedroom, time stopped. When it was over, we lay tangled in silence. His fingers traced circles on my skin. I don't know what happens now, I said quietly. He looked at me, eyes soft. Neither do I. But I'm not sorry. And neither was I. Not in that moment. Not in the dark. Not in the quiet that held more truth than any vow ever had. Daniel came home the next evening. The storm had cleared, but the air still smelled like wet leaves and mud. I watched him carry his duffel into the house, tired and unaware, like nothing had changed. And in so many ways, nothing had, at least not in his world. But mine had shifted. Caleb avoided me the next morning. No glances, no words. He moved through the house like a ghost. I told myself that was good. That it was over. That it had to be. But the silence between us said everything we were too afraid to speak aloud. A week later, he packed his things and left for a job in another city. Said he needed a fresh start, something on his own. Daniel clapped him on the back, proud. I stood on the porch, arms crossed over my chest, heart knotted up in 1,000 invisible threads. When Caleb hugged me goodbye, he whispered, "I still see you. Even if no one else ever will." I didn't cry until the car pulled away. You'd think after something like that, something so tangled in desire, guilt, and raw honesty, I'd feel destroyed. But I didn't. I felt awakened. Alive in a way I hadn't been in years. What happened that night wasn't just about sex, or loneliness, or crossing a line we never should have approached. It was about being truly seen not as a mother, or a wife, or a figure in the background, but as a woman star. A woman still capable of feeling, of needing, of being wanted. I don't know if I'll ever tell Daniel. Some truths aren't meant for the light. Some are better left folded in memory, safe and quiet. But I think about Caleb sometimes. The way he looked at me like I mattered. The way he touched me like I wasn't broken. The way he walked away, not because he didn't care, but because he did. We broke something that night. There's no denying that. But we also lit a flame in the dark. And sometimes, when the nights are quiet and the house is still, I let myself remember. Not with shame, but with a strange, aching gratitude. Because for once, I wasn't invisible.